Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to another Divine Lost program. Tonight, we shall nourish our souls together by studying question 957 of the Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec. So we thank God, the mentors, and each and every one of us who are here forming this current of hope that shall strengthen us for immortality and also serve as an opportunity for the mentors to utilize the best in us on behalf of those who are suffering so much more than ourselves. So let this be, beloved friends, we ask God, a moment of self reflection, nourishment, and service. Let us then begin by reading question 957 together, followed by the answer. Then we shall bring a couple of highlights, propose a therapeutic exercise so we feel the scriptures, and end with thoughts of gratitude. Let us then bring our attention to the Spirit's Book. In question 957, Kardec asks, in general, what are the consequences of suicide on the state of the spirit? This is a very important question for all of us to reflect upon, for we know that we are immortal. So, what could happen and what does happen when and if some of us decide to cut our physical life short? Let us hear the answer from the illuminated spirits working under the governance of the earth. They explain to Kardec and us that the consequences of suicide vary widely. There are no set penalties, and all cases that are always relative to the causes that produce them. One consequence for which those who commit suicide cannot escape, however, is disappointment. Besides, the fate is not the same for all. It depends on circumstances. Some expiate their wrongs at once, whereas others do so in a new life that will be worse than the one whose course they cut short. So this answer is concise but very empowering, encouraging you and I, all of us, to value physical life and our temporary physical vest as a concession, as a gift from God. When we rebel against God's love by cutting our lives shorter in any way, shape, or form, we shall be disappointed, because when our awareness awakens to the fact that we said no, that we refused to embrace God's love in the form of health and vitality, then we feel disappointed, dear friends. How many times do we take for granted the very fact that we can breathe freely, that we can walk comfortably, that we have enough health and vitality to express ourselves, to make sense of life, to earn a living, to study, to help with our family, to construct a family? How many blessings do we take for granted? Usually, when we rebel against God's love, this is a sign of spiritual blindness on our part. And it is spiritual blindness that causes us to experience victimization, to feel like a victim, to make ourselves blind to God's presence in our lives. It is when we make this choice that we are more prone to cut our vitality shorter. May it be through thoughts of pessimism, thoughts of rebellion, mental battles. These are types of moral suicide when we internally, emotionally, spiritually refuse to embrace the gift of life in its fullness. So, how many of us may be engaging in moral suicide, telling God like a child, we refuse to accept the conditions you have set for us, God? When what may be, dear friends, the antidote to moral suicide or life refusal, maybe not actively but rather passively? The antidote to that we learn through the illuminated spirits in Spiritism is meekness. It is to become a peacemaker internally, to make peace with our own circumstances, knowing that everything that takes place in our lives is divine because it is an act of love on the part of God. So perhaps if we don't have the conditions in our lives where everything is optimal from our perspective, perhaps we shall shift our mentality and come to understand that God may be calling us to develop a virtue that needs to be strengthened in us, like faith, patience, kindness, empathy. Shall we meditate on that? And on in the circumstances in which some of us may choose to cut our physical life shorter more directly, we now know that this is never the answer, dear friends, because life never truly ends. We may cut short our physical vitality, but never our spiritual one, because we are immortal and eternal in nature. So let us be pro life in this sense, knowing, carrying the certainty that we are eternal and that the difficulties we temporarily face shall pass. Let us make peace with the circumstances of our present, knowing that the present is truly a present from on high. It is a matter of our decision, internal decision, to be at peace with the present. Shall we, dear friends? This is our therapeutic exercise for tonight. It is to make peace and be at peace with the present, making the present pleasant, as our friend Vanessa Anceloni always reminds us, and finding the gifts of God all around us. Let us then embrace life in its fullness, because the gifts that we may take for granted today is for certain the dream of many who lack the abundant blessings that are present in our lives. So let us, dear friends, choose the good, Choose to see the good and seek the good and multiply the good right here and right now. So we thank you for joining this current of hope and wisdom from on high as a concession of God. And we invite everyone to continue to stay tuned right here on Kardec Radio. Of course, we know it, as we here are always nourishing our souls. Thank you, dear friends, and bye for now.